If you make music, you probably want people to hear it. And if you want to be heard, you're going to need some help. I've got a few tools that's going to help you get there. And the first one is SubmitHub. First of all, this isn't sponsored in any way, but I do use SubmitHub, and I've found it to be a pretty good tool. So I'll walk you through what I think are the three main areas of use for SubmitHub, and I'll also give you a couple of bonus tips at the end to get some added value out of SubmitHub. Let's jump into SubmitHub and get the screen share going, and we'll talk through a little bit about how I use it, and we're going to use my SubmitHub account to walk you through this. Three main aspects of SubmitHub, and we'll walk through them. As you can see here, the first thing that I've done is uploaded a song, and you can do this with a SoundCloud link. I believe you can do this with a YouTube link, etc. And you can track your activity. If you have multiple artists, you can certainly do that as well. The other thing that I would point out to you right away is you have these credits up here in the upper right hand corner. We will touch on it a little bit in a moment. So let's start with what I think is the most important aspect of this, and that is to submit a song. So we have our song uploaded. We're going to click submit a song. We're using this song. And now we get to the first place where we have some choices to make. There are playlist curators, music bloggers, YouTube channels, etc. under the curator piece. And then you have your TikTok influencers, Instagram influencers, things of that nature here. There's also the hot or not, but we'll get to that before too long. Here's what I would tell you about this, and this is just based on my experience. I'm not a big proponent when it comes to music of using influencers for the marketing. There are certain things that influencers are fantastic at marketing. It's just been my personal experience that it's not the optimal place for long-term sustainably finding new listeners. That I think we're going to find more in the curators piece. So let's dig in there first. So here's our options for type of credits to use and what you get with each type. Let's start here with the premium side. So the first thing that you're going to do is for submitting a song is finding similar artists to your song. For me, these are the ones that I chose. This happens to be a Grant Lee Buffalo song written by Grant Lee Phillips. It's a cover song, so that to me is a no-brainer. Then I tried to pick artists that I would say pretty popular artists that have a similar vibe or similar style. So you can delete all these and choose up to 5 total artists that fit your song. We'll save that. We'll keep that as is. The next section here in the genres, right? Obviously, you're selecting the genres based off of either feedback that you've got or specifically where you feel like this song follows. And if you're interested in how to find your genre, I've got a video for that, and I'll link it around here somewhere, or at least in the description. And then again, you can also see that this is a cover song, right? If we scroll down a little bit more, you can see these are the moods of this song. If we hit edit, you can see there are some other options. This will just kind of help you in a moment when we get to filtering as far as finding curators that work for you and your song. And then here's where we can get to what kind of feedback do you prefer. So let's click edit. If a curator does not want your song, SubmitHub does do a very good job of asking them to explain why. And I think, if you're new, you're getting started out, feedback is incredibly important. And I could do a whole video on quality of feedback and where you get feedback from and how important you should treat it. But for today, our purposes here, right? We can ask for specific and honest feedback. SubmitHub says for those with tough skin. If you're in the business of asking for feedback, you need to have tough skin. That's the option I chose. You can ask specifically like, what do you think about the vocals? What about the production? Is the loudness right? You can ask some different things. And my experience is you will get, usually that'll get addressed in the feedback if they chose not to accept your song. But hey, be honest with yourself. If you need someone to be gentle, do that. If you don't want any feedback at all, you have that option as well. Okay, now we're into the screen. What you have on the left-hand side is all of your options to filter. You can change those genres that we built out earlier. You could also switch up the similar artists. You have some additional filtering on, recommended picks, or their response rate is above 80%, etc. I basically just check this one that's like hide for those that are in weekend mode. Because if they're in weekend mode, it means they're not actively listening right now for whatever reasons. They're on vacation. I think here's what's important is how do they share music? If you're only trying to drive Spotify listeners, I would only check Spotify. I think this is an okay way to go. But again, it depends on what your goals are. Set this to match your goals. I really am just focused on Spotify or radio. You can choose those to fit your liking. And then there are some genre match, quality of playlist, etc. that you can check off over here to the side. So once you get that filter down, what you're left with here is 212 curators that match my filters, right? And it's pretty nice that you can scroll through and see, one, where is the curator located, right? This one happens to be in Romania. It's a Spotify playlister. My genre match is good. The quality is okay. The engagement is okay. I think that's fine. But here's the thing. Read through this, the descriptions here. Read through what their approval rate is. I mean, 55%, that's a pretty high approval rating. Read through where they share. Do your homework on these playlists. If you want to just submit all, just like have SubmitHub do that, they can do it for you. You'll choose this option over here, and we can walk through that in a second. But the main thing I would tell you here is go through and review. You can put a little heart on the ones that you want to save and review later. There may be one of these that fits better than the other. I would tell you scroll through, read, know who you're pitching to, so that it makes sense for both of you. So you're not wasting the curator's time, you're not wasting your credits, etc. But let's say we like this one a lot, right? This is a good one. We're going to click and submit. And before you do that submission, I want to stress this to you. Add a personalized message. You're asking to get on their playlist. Take the time to write out a short description so that you've got some sort of a personal connection, that you're a real person. But definitely leave a personalized message, which means don't use this pitch for everyone. Think about what's important to this particular curator and tailor your message to that. This is a sales job. You're trying to get your music on their playlist, so do the work that it is necessary to do that. So you'll hit save, you'll have your personalized message in here, and boom, you can go over here and hit submit. If you need to buy more credits, this is a place where you can do that. Okay, so that's the hard way to go through that, but I think is the right way. If you just don't have time, or you have more money than time, or more credits in this case than time, go to choose for me, and it'll tell you, hey, here, rank out what's most important to you. Okay, great. Listeners is more important. Feedback is second important. I don't care about blog posts, whatever. Then you have some options here as far as where do you want to target. I would say be balanced here, but again, this depends on what your goals are. And then again, you can set your budget, review your selections. Again, this is going to be 50 credits to do this and go this route. Cool. All right. That I think is the big one, right? That's where I think SubmitHub is at its most valuable. But there are a couple more things. Let's jump into number 2. All right, the second thing I want to show you on SubmitHub, and I'll do this one quickly, is Marketplace. Marketplace is fantastic. Think of it as a Fiverr for anything you might need help with your release. So you can see over here on the side, you can get music reviews, engineering, help, press and marketing, graphic design, etc. So if we just click into that, you can see here's some of the things that we can do. Let's say if we need an album artwork done, okay, we can click on here. We've got folks that do album artwork. You can see that they've got a credit cost to doing that. And then you've got some filters over here on the left. So format, pretty much the same as submitting to curators. Here's what I would tell you, just like you were doing something with Fiverr. You're not spending, crazy money for someone to create artwork for you, but also, be judicious in I probably wouldn't spend, $100 to have someone who's only been doing this a year to do that unless I was just super impressed with their work. So think about that as well. But they could do ad design, lyric videos, etc. Spotify, Canvas as well. So this is a great tool to find people that can help you specifically with music marketing, audio engineering, that sort of thing. So that's the marketplace in a nutshell. All right, here is the third piece, and where I'll spend a little bit of time before we get to the bonus tools that SubmitHub offers, and that is hot or not. So let's click on this. We've got my song here that's been in the hot or not. And essentially what happens is you go through here and you rate songs that others have put up in the hot or not, and you can earn standard credits. Standard credits being different than premium credits that you paid for. Standard credits are ones you can earn just for going through and doing reviews. So we can rate songs, we can see songs that have been rated, we have our submissions, we can see our activity. This is where I want to get into how to rate songs. And this is just kind of a pet peeve of mine, and probably the part of SubmitHub that I have the hardest time with. One, I think it's a very cool service that it's there at all. Someone's putting up their money to do this, and it does fill a gap where people are trying to figure out what their place in the music world is, so they can put up their music and they can get feedback on that. As with most things, I would say you get what you pay for, and I wouldn't necessarily take feedback from someone I don't know or I don't respect or doesn't have a long list of accomplishments that make them credible in that space. However, if you go through here, you have your song rated 50 or 100 times and everybody says the drums suck. Well, the drums might suck. But if you have 10 ratings and 3 people say, hey, I don't think the vocals are that great, I don't think I'd throw myself into traffic just right away based off of that very loose feedback. And I think, let's talk about that, right? Like you can use the slider to provide feedback. And like I said, you save ratings, you can find some cool stuff here. You can select the genres that you rate. That's all good. But I think, here's where the rubber meets the road is where we go and look at activity. And you can see where I have gotten feedback for my song. And sometimes, the feedback is thoughtful. Sometimes the feedback I think is a little rushed. Sometimes the feedback I think, is not terribly valuable. But it was a good experiment just to kind of see what happens when you use that feature in SubmitHub. So cool. There's the 3 big things in SubmitHub. I want to give you a couple of bonus tools. And I think this is very cool with SubmitHub, and I'll show you really quickly. One is the links. So you can create a link here that's not unlike what you might get with DistroKid or Hyped It. It gives you a path to create a landing page, and that is kind of a neat add-on to be able to have that. So that's a cool tool. All right, so another aspect is Playlist Checker, where you can come in here and analyze a playlist. And I've brought one of mine in here real quick. We'll hit Analyze, and we can see that it is a Spotify playlist. It pulls in your number of tracks and number of followers for that playlist. And then you can see some of the songs, when were the songs added, so it tells you how long they've been on there. You can see how many monthly listeners are there. Of course, you've got links to all the songs as well, and then some information about the BPM and that sort of thing. So another cool extra bonus tool. But here's the one that I think everyone should be using if, like a lot of people, you're out there trying to figure out what is your genre. So we're going to pick a couple of songs and see what we can find. So let's start with my song, because I struggled a little bit with what the genre of this song is. I think it's, to be clear, for Spotify, they use a 30-second preview. If you use a YouTube or a SoundCloud preview, say your song really doesn't get cranked until, 45 seconds to a minute in, then this might not work great for you, but for my purposes, 30 seconds is fine. So we'll analyze it, and it spits out right away, probably because I've done this before, right, that it's 19% alternative rock. I think this is a little bit different, by the way, if I do the full song. It gives a little more to indie rock and folk rock. So I think that's kind of interesting. Let's pick another song. And I'm going to grab one from, let's see, one of my favorite bands. And let's drop them in here and see what they might sound like. And here we go. So it's in the queue and it's cranking out. It says 30 to 45 seconds, much faster than that. And I don't know that I would disagree with the first two. It starts to get a little weird when we're equal parts alternative metal and goth metal and dark wave. But again, it's a 30-second preview. So, but that is the genre analyzer on SubmitHub, which I think is an awesome tool. There's a bunch of others out there as well. You can certainly go and search out genre analyzer tool in Google and find some really cool ways to slice and dice your song if you're having trouble with getting to your genre. All right, so there's a look at SubmitHub and what that can do for you. I really encourage you to go in and play with that. And you may find yourselves on some blogs, some remote playlisting stations, and who knows what may come from that. But anyway, I wish you the best of luck in marketing your music. And yeah, I'll leave you a link to a video that'll help you find your genre right over here.